Okay, we are live. Welcome to the ADHD Roundtable. I'm Jess DeBose, and this is an open roundtable discussion about ADHD to bring normalcy to neurodiversity while engaging in deep conversations and having fun. So, welcome, friends who are watching live or the recording, and welcome to all of our panelists today. It's really good to have you all here. This is a really interesting episode because we all live in the Portland metro area. It's really fun to be in a space where I'm learning to meet new people in real life too. Okay, so my first question to y'all is my go-to. I love this question. What is your current favorite thing about your flavor of ADHD? So your flavor of ADHD, what is something that you really enjoy about it?
I can go first. I have the most fabulous hyperfixation on all the critters in my front yard. And so I've gotten to meet, I'm on my third generation of new baby squirrels that I have two particular moms that bring their babies and they sit in my flower pots and wait for me in the morning. And I have two specific crows who brought their babies, and one has stayed in my front yard to hang out with my first group of pigeons that just comes in the morning. And it's pretty much the most fabulous. I'm much better with animals than people probably. And it has been the joy of my dadgum life. You're just I just have this tiny little yard here in Woodstock, but I have all these little animals that hang out now in my front yard. And yeah, they bring me their babies. So it's just been really cool. I'm driving my family nuts with all the updates, but it's the most fun fixation I've ever had.
That's awesome. All right, we might have to play the popcorn game because we're all don't want to talk on top of each other. So, Elizabeth, why don't you share if you want to?
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm not sure if I have a favorite thing right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, why don't we move on and I'll keep thinking.
Yeah. DeDe.
Yeah, I'll go. My favorite thing is not feeling like I need to listen to anybody.
Mm.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I spent some time in Santa Fe this past August, and I think something sparked when I was there because when I got back, I was like, "Oh, I don't need to listen to anybody because I know what I'm doing. Like I got this." And so it's kind of like this and I feel like when you said flavor, Jess, because I was like, some weeks I feel like it's like mild, like vanilla or something. Where I'm like, oh, I can just kind of cruise along and do my own thing. And then some weeks it's like, I think of it like salt and straw sometimes of like their crazy flavors where I'm like, like the really weird ones where I'm like, I kind of like I'm on fire a little bit. And then some weeks it's like, kind of like middle of the road. So it's nice to be able to kind of drive with that and enjoy the flow. Like I'm just flowing with these like different variants of trust, basically.
Mm. How about you, Kimberly?
No, it's a tough one. I mean, as soon as you said animals, Katie, I was like, oh yeah, same. But I would also say maybe music. I feel like I can really relate to music if I'm feeling different feelings or in different moods or, around different people. I feel like music really is my jam. There's times whenever I'm feeling stressed or something that I just listen to uplifting music, or maybe it's like rock or something, crazy. But I feel like music's kind of my go-to.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I can relate to it. I feel like it always makes me feel comfortable or Maybe I need a good cry, or maybe it's just, I'm all over the place, too many tabs open in my head that I'm like, you know what, music's going to help me kind of zone in and actually organize these tabs a little bit. It actually helps me be more productive too. So it can kind of go either way. I can continue to be unproductive, or I can be productive according to what music I listen to. So
Do you create like particular playlists that correlate to Oh, that's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That's super
I definitely
cool.
do. So like I have a cleaning playlist. I mean, of course, seasonal Halloween, things like that. But I think cleaning playlists, mental health playlists, things when I'm just feeling sad. I don't really want to listen to sad music, so I have things that are a little bit more boppy or fun. So yeah, I try to make as many playlists as possible.
I love that.
Thank
Mm,
you. Sometimes it's repeat songs too in that same playlist, but sometimes they just speak to me and I feel a vibe. Yeah.
That's a good one.
that's awesome. For those of you who have watched many episodes of the Roundtable, you know this about me, but if you're new, you don't. I am a weirdo who doesn't have ADHD. I just love ADHDers. But I like answering this question too. Um, One of my favorite things, okay, currently in my business, I have the privilege of working with um, different types of folks who have ADHD, and one of my clients um, is further along in their journey. And so we're not doing just initial basic stuff. And because of the self-awareness they have, we're able to like play in the nuance. And when ADHDers are able to play in that space, it's like super fun because then you get to like, okay, we're out of the like super shame spiral. It comes up, but it's still a little different. And then we're able to do like some of the problem solving of like, okay, we're gonna tweak this and we're gonna move away from the all or nothing. And so I just had a lot of fun with a client today, on our call, being able to play in the nuance.
You have such a calm energy. I bet it's just lovely for people wired like us to like get to meet you in real life or work with you. Like even just coming on, I can just feel myself calming down. Like just even the timbre of your voice is so calming to then get to play with. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's very fun. Actually, okay, I don't do this very often on the round table, but I feel like doing it right now. One of the things that I do with my clients at the beginning of every session, I call it a transition exercise. Um, and they're super fun. So if you're open to it, we're going to do one right now. It's basically like a mini meditation. So if you're listening to the replay or with us live, feel free to do this too. But if you're driving or whatever, make sure you're aware of your surroundings and not closing your eyes if you are not in a place to do that. Um, if you're able to, settle in, close your eyes if you'd like to, and take a slow, deep breath. Take another slow, deep breath, biggest breath you've taken all day. As you continue to take slow, deep breaths, really think about your energy, the essence of who you are. Does it have a shape, a color, a smell, a texture? Really let yourself visualize that, experience it. And if it feels a little overwhelming to try to define your essence, that's okay. It gets to be ethereal. You don't have to have all the details. Take another slow, deep breath. And now you're going to think about all of the places you might have left your energy. There's no shame or judgment. It's an observation. Maybe there's some in the other room, in the car, at the store, with a loved one. And you're going to lovingly call all of your energy back to yourself. Really let yourself see it come back. And it get bigger and bigger and bigger. Take another slow, deep breath, allowing yourself to fully arrive in this moment. and open your eyes when you're ready. One of the things that I love to point out about this is that that took us less than 2 minutes. And you can notice the shift that happened in your energy while we were doing that. Even in the space, I can feel it. Like, it's like, I don't know, a grounding that kind of happened for everyone. Yeah. How was that for you guys?
I needed it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I maybe I'll do that for every episode moving forward. That's a fun
It's
thing.
really nice. And grounding. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the other things that I love talking about is like how you stumbled upon your ADHD. For some people, diagnosis is part of their story. For other people, it's not. There is no right or wrong here. The whole point for us is to like have people share their stories so we know that there's lots of different ways this can happen. And there is no right or wrong, and whatever works for you is what has worked for you, but it also might have worked for somebody else. And then people don't have to feel so alone. So I would love to hear a little bit about your journey to ADHD. Is there
I
someone who,
can I can
yeah,
start since I missed the last question.
great.
I'm 60 and this didn't surface for me until like the last 5 years, which is I will say I have a daughter that has pretty severe OCD, and it was very hard. She's 34, so this is, we were dealing with this like 20 years ago, and it was really hard to find help specifically for OCD. And when we finally did find somebody, they had me do a lot of written uh, questionnaire type assessments for her. And I remember thinking, I feel like I have that, but for me, it's all in my brain. Like
Mm,
she had certain rituals she did, but for me, it was just like this, just all in my brain. And then I didn't really think anything of it after that. And then a few years ago, I feel like when things started, people started sharing more, and I kind of perk up and go, "Oh, I do that," or "Oh, yeah, that happens for me." And then it was actually my daughter sort of, I think she was afraid she would offend me, but she told me she had read an article about ADHD, and she said, "I think you have some symptoms." And I said, "Oh, I'm curious, what were they?" And she goes, "Well, all of them. You have all of them." I was like, I've kind of been thinking that. So I did get screened, and they said I had like 2/3 of the criteria that would give me a solid diagnosis. And that since I didn't want to do medicine, there really was no point in doing further screening. But one of you mentioned when we were talking earlier, and this resonated with me, just that feeling of like, but there's a reason that I think the way I do, and that I have to put things away a certain way. And that was another like aha moment. My friend's daughter has pretty severe ADHD, and my friend was describing how she doesn't like to put things away because if she can't see them, she won't use them or do them. And I was like, oh, that's me. So that's kind of my story. And I haven't done a ton of work specifically around it, but like when I've been in therapy, he'll often remind me, well, people with ADHD brains do that. And, just to kind of bring it in that there's nothing wrong with me, my brain just works differently.
yes. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Someone want to go next?
Yeah, I can go. My bookkeeper for my business gently suggested that I talk to Jess, or just someone in general, because she was like, I think, it's funny, like you really get to know your person that does your finances for your books because it's the like heart of your business. And she understands my brain because of that, because like you're in these nitty gritty details and you can really kind of dissect someone, I think, through that. So yeah. And then she's so wonderful, and she was, just very, real about it. She was like, this is only going to help you. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be curious about this, basically, because it's not, because I had this like, feeling of like, oh, if I go there, I'm going to be labeled, but it's like, no, it's completely opposite. Um, you're peeling back the labels of why you work a certain way and like why you think a certain way. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah, for context, DeDe and I have been working together for the last couple of months. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun is not even the word. It's like, it's like, it's a highlight of my, because we meet a couple times a month. Literally, like when I see you on my calendar, I'm like, oh, I get to talk to Jess today. Like, it's the best. Yeah, you are the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Mm. Kimberly, you want to share next?
Yeah, I was about to say I can go next. So Jess diagnosed me. I mean, there's a lot of people last year at ThriveCon that were like, you need to talk to Jess. So yeah, I feel like, sitting still for so, like, I can't sit still. Like, I'm always moving, always fidgeting all over the place. I love multitasking, but to a point where maybe that's not a good thing because I don't finish one project. So a lot of this was also very self-aware just by, being around other individuals with ADHD or doing my own research, trying to figure out, who I am as an individual. So a lot of that was like self figuring out. Um, but I think a lot of that helps me try to figure out, future events that I'm doing or my business or just personal life as well. Like, I feel like I'm actually pretty OCD as well, to the point where everything has to be in a certain place, but then I'm super poor when it comes to time management. So it's kind of like weird little things that kind of stick out that I can, recognize for myself. So, that's a journey that I'm trying to figure out where all those pieces are and what it looks like and how to improve myself. So yeah, it's a work in progress. So, but I am pretty self-aware. Like, I want to grow and, be my true self. Me and Jess were also talking about human design some, so it helps me kind of understand who I am as an individual. And, I think then you can kind of play on those strengths that also come with being ADHD as well, because you can be creative, you can have some fun, yeah, be impulsive, but sometimes impulsiveness leads to being spontaneous. So, there's a lot of little perks to it as well. So yeah, that's kind of my story.
Amazing. Katie?
I shared earlier, I was director of youth and family services, but I had a special group of kiddos I didn't want to give to any other therapist. So I kept them, and they were all my juvenile justice boys, and they reached out to their probation officers and secretary and set up an intervention for me and asked if I had ever considered that maybe I was ADHD. And this was like 2007, 2008. I was like, that's a kid thing. They were like, I'm pretty sure you might want to consider it. And so I got a referral. I went and I got an assessment, and the psychologist had me give the questionnaires to 3 people. So I gave it to one of my staff, my ex-husband, and a colleague. And he stopped the assessment. He goes, I just thought your ex-husband was being mean, but honestly, I don't know how you've survived. Like, we don't need to fit. You are definitely ADHD. And so then I'm kind of like Elizabeth. I didn't want to take med. I mean, at that point, I was in my early mid 40s, and I just thought, well, at this point, it's kind of how I am, and I've adapted. And I don't know that in 2008, there was really a conversation about being an adult. Yeah, so I honestly never really thought about it much until a few years ago when menopause and life kind of hit. And I was like, I have lots of character flaws, but my brain has always been my ally, and it did not, that was no longer my experience. And so I had to really go back and kind of investigate other strategies around managing something that I just always kind of adapted to. So it took, like you said, Kimberly, a lot of being intentional and self-reflection. You can have a diagnosis in any number of ways, but I had to really be thoughtful about, now what do I do with that, for the first time in a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing about the DSM-5, which is the thing that is the criteria for getting a diagnosis, is it's only, I think, still written for children. They don't have one that's for adults. And so there are still adults that are not actually getting diagnosed or getting misdiagnosed. And so having these types of conversations is really helpful to help people understand, like, you're not alone, you're not crazy. Like, the system, they're just starting now, I think, to start like really researching ADHD in women and adults, like, and it shows up differently than it does between men and women. And so it's a lot of things that are happening. So great. Thank you for sharing all of your stories. Okay, what is something, okay, let's start here. What was something that was like really challenging for you that you feel like you've, I don't want to say overcome, because it might not be like you overcame it, it more about like you figured out a system that works for you now, and so you're able to support yourself through it. But what was something that was really challenging that you now have created support around?
So I can go. For me, probably time blocking,
Mhm.
because I want to do so much all the time. I'm originally from East Coast, so I have that excuse, the East Coast mentality where you go, 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 and you don't know how to stop. So for me, time blocking has been in a lot of ways a lifesaver. I have to use that in a lot of aspects of my life, whether it's through work or personal life, whatever that looks like. I feel like time blocking, it saved me. And it's not perfect. I mean, I'm still learning and adapting as it goes, but I feel like if I know, hey, Tuesdays are going to go for this day, it helps me kind of stay focused and stay in that routine as
Yeah.
much as I can. Again, not perfect. So.
Could you define for us what you mean by time blocking? Because lots of people use that in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, so for me, because I have multiple businesses that I operate, whether it's Passages to Success or it's ThriveCon, which is our yearly convention. I have a social media company. I work multiple spots locally. I try to be like, okay, I know that I'm going to dedicate Tuesdays to this one job. And maybe it's like, I literally get down to the nitty gritty where it's like, okay, from 2 to 7, I know this is where I'm going to focus on XYZ to make this part of my business grow, but I'm only focusing on this one business. So it's almost like literally grabbing a calendar and writing out your times for the day. For me, it's in my phone, even though I absorb things better if I write it down. But in my phone, I have to have like actual notifications during that time of the day to actually stay focused.
That's
So.
a great tip.
I got it really late. I'm not gonna lie, I probably started it this summer, but I was doing multiple conventions and then also trying to do my social media and like all these other things that I was like, if I don't organize this in my brain and then on paper, I will not be successful in any of them. So, and I want to be successful in all of them. And that includes personal life too. So I know there's days I need to do laundry, or there's days for me and my hubby to go on a date night or something like that. So I try to get specific with that as well. Still live spontaneous, of course, but at least I know, hey, for the maybe the boring stuff, that's going to be time blocked during this specific time. And so yeah, it just makes me a little more disciplined. So I'm not sure if that answers that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
100% it does. Because a lot of times I think when people hear the term time blocking, they think that it's a very, very specific, but with an ADHD brain, doing very specific actually is counter. But if you do more like loose structure is what I like to call it, because ADHDers have this wonderful thing of like, I need structure. Don't tell me what to do, even if it's myself telling me what to do. Like, and it's those
Yeah.
are polarizing. And so if you can give yourself this in between space of having a little bit of structure that has room to be spontaneous, then it's like, then you're giving yourself a boundary. One of the, this is going to sound unrelated, but I heard once they did a study on playgrounds with children, and the playgrounds that didn't have any fences, all the kids stayed in the middle of the playground. And then the playgrounds that had fences, the kids used the entire space of the playground to play. And it's like that's what you're doing is you're setting up a fence for yourself so that you can play in any way that you want in that space, but at least there's a fence and you know where the boundary is.
I love that.
You too. That's a brilliant visual.
And I
Cool.
still like, if I time block that 2 to 7 time frame on a Tuesday, I still, during that few hours, I still want to be, you know what, I'm going to take a break and go walk my dog or something, something that, or maybe I'll shift it. Maybe it's only 2 to 5 that specific day. So that way I'm still feeling creative in my brain or something, especially for some of that boring stuff like paperwork or emails, those kind of things that you're kind of like, do I have to do this right now? Whenever I'd rather be painting or being outside on a hike or, something that I enjoy. So yeah, but it's definitely helped a lot.
Awesome. So something that was challenging that you figured out a system or support that helped you with that thing that was challenging.
Yeah, I can go. I was always the one that would like make a to-do list the night before and then never do it the next day. And so I realized I needed to create space, kind of similar like to the whole playground analogy with this with the fence. I needed to create space to just do nothing for
Yes.
me. Yeah, that was what was missing. And I was like, oh, because I can't create until I create space to create. And like that was for me the game changer. I was like, oh, I need to literally do nothing. And I could never give myself permission to do that before because I was like, oh no, I have the to-do list because when I get up at 6 in the morning, I have to do that. But then I hated doing it and then I didn't do it. It's like the most simplest thing. And it's like the laughing Buddha. Like once I got out of my head, I like laughed at myself because I'm like, DeDe, you're so ridiculous because all you had to do was just make the space. And so now instead of getting up at 6 a.m. and getting on my laptop, I get up at 6 a.m. and I sit on my yoga mat and I just sit.
Mm.
And it's hard. It's challenging, but I do it. And if I don't do it, then I'm like, oh yeah, why can't I create? Because I haven't made the space. So that was a huge one for me.
Love that.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. There's like a saying like darkness comes before like the creation, right? Like in the womb it's dark before there's a baby, or underground where the seeds are, it's dark before something can be created. And so that space, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I know. It feels good. Uh, it feels like soft, rather than like pushing and pushing. It's like, no, you can just be, even though it's not always like some days it's easy to like sit, of course, but some days it's not. And it's the same thing with the to-do list. Like, oh yeah, some days I want to do, like reach out to this new customer. Some days I want to like take the Zoom call, but other days you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. So it's just Similar. Same, different.
Yeah. And in our society, people suck at resting. But ADHDers I find are more so. And part of that is like because the way that we talk about resting is sitting still or sleeping, but rest looks lots of different types of ways. You can, for DeDe, it happens to work for her to sit on her yoga mat and do nothing. For someone else, it's painting or walking or like there's lots of different ways to be restful. And if you need help with that, there's my shameless plug. I created a course about it called Rest Like a Rebel, the 7 types of rest for ADHDers who don't want to sit still. So if that's of interest to you, I'll make sure it's in the link below. Um, okay, Katie or Elizabeth, you want to go next?
I can go. This is a very simple thing, but it's that thing about needing to have something out or I won't do it or use it. And I actually like when I go to put something in a cupboard and it has to go behind something else, it does cause me anxiety, but I have learned to sort of like it's okay. You know where it's going to be. If you need to use it, you'll be able to get it out. And it sounds really silly, but that has helped me be a little more organized because I don't have to have everything out.
That's awesome. Mm. My roommate just took the cabinet doors off in her kitchen. It's like, great. I just see everything in there. All right, Katie.
If y'all could see my office, but I won't do that to you because you'd all scream. But the one organizational thing I figured out back in the 80s in college is the one thing that I still do. I just assign everything work related is orange, everything admin is yellow, everything personal is green, everything about my daughters is pink. So I have all these huge sticky notes, but for 30 years, it's helped me just visually, no matter what I'm doing, I can not feel so overwhelmed because I know when I see that color highlighter, whether it's in my journal, on my laptop, on my phone, on my wall, it gives a bit of synthesis for me to know all the yellow is the boring paperwork admin that I have to do. And anyway, yeah, that I need so many more tips, but that's probably the one thing I figured out as a young adult that has continued to serve me well as far as trying to keep life organized.
Yeah. Color coding your world. That's really cool. I love it. So cool. Okay. This might be a more vulnerable question, so feel free not to answer if you don't want to, but what's something that's currently just challenging? You don't have an answer to, maybe.
I can answer that. When Kimberly meant just in part of answering the question, she mentioned having too many tabs open. And when she said that, I was like, that's what I'm struggling with. Like in general, it feels like there's just way too many tabs open and there literally are on my computer, but in my brain, there's too many open constantly lately. And um I need to close some of those, like put them away. But that's probably my thing of not wanting to put them away or I'll never get back to them. And I also really, really struggle with wanting to be organized with my time and time block even kind of loosely, but the resistance is so big. So those are the two things which probably go together.
One of the one of the things I've been saying for a long time now is resistance is part of the process. But somebody else shared this with me and it was transformational for me. Um, Resistance is information. So resistance sometimes is us being just stubborn and not wanting to fucking do the thing. Or it's I need to eat and drink some water, and I'm resistant because I haven't taken care of my body, so I don't actually have the brain power to do this. Or I need to sleep, or my inner child is really scared and needs to be hugged right now. Like, whatever the resistance is, there's information there for you.
That's great.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And for me at least, it was really, I could give myself some compassion to be like, because I would just be um shaming myself for being resistant all the time. Like, oh, I'm resisting again. I should be doing something different. Like, no, actually, this resistance is here for a reason, and maybe I can ask, so why? And if it is just me being stubborn, okay, I don't want to fucking do this right now. Do I need to put my big girl panties on and do it anyways? Maybe. Or it's something else, right? But then at least I have the information and have figured out the why instead of just pushing through for no reason.
Yes, I relate to the whole pushing through so much because I'm at this, my challenge right now is figuring out the balance of taking my business to the next level, which I am going to do, but in a way that doesn't make me die because I died before. And yeah, so it's like, okay, how much do I surrender? Like, right? Like, how much do I let go? Because then I feel like sometimes when I let go too much, then I'm in this like total yin, like the feminine, but then I need the masculine to like get me to the finish line. So it's like this like mind fuck of like, wait, where's the balance? Like, where's the balance? But then that comes to that trust that I talked about earlier. Like, I don't really need to listen to anybody else because I'm always like, oh, I should ask them what they did or what did they do? How did they get there? Like, where do you get that? But then I'm like, no, like it's just in me. So that's like challenge then of like, oh yeah, how do I, how do I do that? Like, or how do I just, no, that's not the right thing. That's not what I'm trying to say. How do I, um, be in that space of the unknown, I guess, and let it take me, accelerate me. Yeah, that's it.
That's great.
That's where I'm at with that.
Hmm.
But it's like, it's sustainable, I think, for especially people with the ADHD brain because we burn out so fast. Like we go and we get so tired. Uh, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. It was something with the when we I forget which one we're talking about um yeah, actually it was Katie with the color coding things because I was reading about ADHDers. The more decisions we have to make every day, we get exhausted. Like it's exhausting. And so when you have less time to make choices, you have more time. And like there, and then again, it's like there is no time, right? But there is because we have all these timestamps. It's a really like big concept. It blows my mind. It like literally blows my mind. So anyway,
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is something that Kimberly has done. She's created these time blocks, like this day I have this thing that so then you don't have to spend your whole time trying to figure out what do I do now when I have 17,000 projects I'm working on at the same time. You're like, no, this is the time for this particular thing. And there's a lot of tasks in between all of those things, but this is the exact project I'm working on right now. And because you're proactively taking out some of the decision, so you don't have to decide all of the things at the same time.
exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like it's Kimberly's and Katie's put together of
Yeah.
blocking the time and then getting really nitty gritty in there. Because then your choice, it's kind of your choiceless.
Yeah.
And then your brain can like really thrive. Yeah.
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 It goes back to what you said, DeDe, that just the semantics of telling myself if I put on my to-do list that the thing I'm accomplishing is that I'm not doing anything, I'm going to rest or read, or then I still get to feel successful because I did the thing. It's just the thing was I chose to do nothing. So I still get the dopamine hit of that was on my to-do list. And so just that reframe already is so helpful to me to just remember that. Like, if the thing I'm going to put on my list is I'm not doing a damn thing till I want to, then I have accomplished that. Go me. Like, I like that.
Yes. What else? What has been feeling challenging?
I'd say for me, probably boredom.
Mm,
I get bored really, really easy of something. And it'll be something that I'm like extremely passionate about, and it will live on a high for a little bit, and then I'll get bored. Or something will happen where then suddenly there's an issue that I need to solve, and I just don't feel like I'm at the capacity where I can solve it. So I feel like boredom hits pretty hard. And then it'll be like one degree of the other. I'll be extremely productive, or I will just be brain rotting, like on TikTok or something, because I don't know how to channel that boredom. So, yeah, that's something that I've been focusing on. Obviously, when I have a specific task, like ThriveCon's a great example, that was all my focus and energy for so long. Then now it's over, I'm kind of like, okay, what do I do now? I'm kind of bored a little bit. That's when I start reorganizing all of my stuff. And my poor husband can't find anything because I keep moving things because I'm bored and I don't know how to kind of just chill a little bit or something. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
yeah. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to share something that's challenging?
I was closing a practice and at the same time beginning a new business in June of 2023. And 2 days after I saw my last client, uh, we thought I had a stroke. Turned out it was it was literal burnout. I mean, my central nervous system just said, you have not listened to any of the messages we've been trying to send. But my vagus nerve became paralyzed while I was out walking the dogs. I lost my voice, my ability to eat or drink water. Like, it was a whole thing. And I spent the last 15 years of my career training on building resilience and vicarious trauma and for corporate. Yeah. But clearly I didn't listen to any of the things I trained other people. And it felled me. Like, I had never really been sick. Like, I gave away 1,000 hours of sick leave when I moved here. Like, I just never so my whole identity, and also I couldn't talk. So when you talk for a living, so I say all that to say I'm just now about 3 months. It's taken me a good 2 years to get better. And I've never slowed down in my life. So trying to go back and revisit this passion project I wanted to build, and also all the interactions that requires with like I'm having to relearn some things. And I've never felt the thing I could always trust was I'm going to work hard and my brain is pretty, or I mean, those are the things I knew I could depend on about myself, that my identity, that being, I think I'm a really good mom, but that's pretty much it. Everything else I do, but I am really trying to never have to ask that in my body again. I really want to be thoughtful. There's my dogs. Sorry, guys. I'm really trying to be thoughtful and deliberate about crafting a foundation that will not require me to use manic, chaotic energy that worked for me in my youth. You know, I could just work forever. I cannot do that anymore, and nor should anybody. But so that is my struggle now, is I've never known any other way to work, and my body will not. I cannot do that, nor do I want to. In my heart, I don't. But that means at 60, developing new behaviors and practices around being in the work world in a way that doesn't cost me my health and my connection to other people. And I just didn't realize that was such a deficit. And I'm really trying to be teachable and pay attention to other ways of creating balance, that kind of mind, body, spirit equilibrium that I've always known that serves everybody well, but that has not been my, top skill set. So I'm literally relearning practices around fundamental foundation building, I think, where that intersection of professional and personal needs intersect, and do them in a much more healthy way this time around. That is a struggle for sure.
Burnout is so dangerous.
It is
so dangerous.
It is.
One of the things that I've been talking a lot about recently is, so the ADHD brain tends to like the all or nothing, right? Yeah. And so I talk about, going from 0 to 100. There's a lot of numbers in between 0 and 100. So when we talk about slowing down, sometimes the ADHD brain wants to resist that, because I don't want to slow down, because in your head you're saying I have to go to 0.
Yeah.
No, maybe your speed is 80 miles per hour, which is faster than everybody else, because you are, but that's the pace that works for you in that flow state. Whereas 100 is manic and chaotic in a way that's not sustainable, and that leads to burnout. Or maybe your speed is 60, and it'll fluctuate, right? You'll have a range that is the sweet spot for you, but you have to figure out for yourself what that is, and not be so inclined to do the all or nothing. And remember, there's a lot of numbers between 0 and 100.
You nailed it, Jess. That's really the journey I'm on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us who you are and what you want us to know about you. If you have a business or an offering or something you want to share with the world. Who wants to go first?
I'd like to know what Elizabeth does.
Yeah.
Well, I do two things. I'm a life coach for women, usually over 50, who are finally kind of getting to that place where they can pursue what they really want in life, or maybe they've learned over the years that they want more or different than what they have been doing. And I'm constantly expanding my trauma healing knowledge and somatic knowledge. So I like to that I just feel like that's a good base to have, because most of us have some of those things. And then I'm also a realtor in Portland and the surrounding areas.
Nice.
Amazing. That's really cool. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. Kimberly Keys. So I also do several things like Elizabeth. Passages to Success is a community hub. Basically, we bring people together of all types of businesses, and whether you're an employee, even if you don't have a business, you just need people to kind of brainstorm and turn to. It's a safe place where business owners can just be vulnerable. Because we focus on mental health. We do development workshops. We have our big convention, ThriveCon, which is once a year. And it's just a place where it's okay to not be okay and then just lean on each other. So it's just a huge community hub. A lot of our people are Oregon, Washington, but we have people kind of all over. We have people from California, Wisconsin, Michigan, so it's kind of cool. So yeah, that's Passages. And then I do social media as well. And that was under serendipitous behavior. And I would work with a lot of small local businesses. And then I work around town, local spots like Center Stage Clothiers, Pop Locals. So yeah, I just love being involved in the community. So that's me.
Amazing.
I do a lot. It's fun though. I enjoy it.
All
Yeah.
y'all stuff up and follow everybody. I just love the variety of all this. Is so cool.
Mhm.
Do you
Katie,
want to?
go ahead.
Yeah,
Katie,
you-
you want to go next?
Oh, me? Sure. Katie, and I was a clinician. Was dually licensed, mental health and substance use. I did that for about 25 years. And I opened a private practice when we moved to Oregon, and I closed it to begin a more sort of community-centered, less clinician-centered conversation around kind of aligned actions via kind of storytelling around one's core values. All my clients in 25 years who ever seem to actually do well and thrive always seem to connect most with that framework around acceptance commitment therapy. And I just thought it might be lovely to facilitate groups where I could help get them together and give them the tools and then get out of the way, so that that sort of collective wisdom that we all like kind of I want to get DeDe keeps saying, like, we all have that knowledge. So just having people have a safe place to sort of excavate that and practice and share stories of what they've tried, what worked and what did. Anyway, it was my favorite thing in therapy. And so I think it's still therapeutic. It's just not actual therapy, but I don't want to be a therapist anymore. So that's my passion project. To fund it, I have spent most of my career doing public speaking and training and workshops. So that's my like grown-up job, and I do love it. But really what I love, what I was working on before my body kind of broke on me, was creating community and connection through storytelling.
Very cool. DeDe?
Yeah, hi, I'm DeDe. I'm the owner of Nourish Broth, which is a small batch bone broth business here in Portland. And I started the business about 4 years ago because I was trying to heal my gut, and I didn't know where the animals were coming from. And it bothered me because I wanted to know if they were healthy. And so I would email the companies and I would be like, oh yeah, it was like a total Portlandia thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is your chicken from? And like nobody would write me back. And they were like, ghosted me. So, and it's funny because, circling back to that 4 years ago, I used to buy bones at farmers markets just to make my own broth because I was like, oh, I know where these are from now. And I didn't, and now I'm working with farmers to source my bones for my business. And it was interesting how that like circled back because the biggest thing I enjoyed about buying the bones was talking to the farmers. And it wasn't even really about making the broth. Like obviously I felt better because I was healing my celiac disease, but I just would like love talking to these farmers. And so now we make broth for farmers mostly. And like, we sell to the public too, but it's like that synergistic vibe of where does your food come from? And so again, now to take it another step further, my customers that come to me are usually healing from something like some trauma or cancer or, they're grieving. A lot of people are grieving. And And I think they can feel that energy of the food. I really believe in that, because they keep coming back. And then, and one more step further, and that's it. I'm feeling like this energetic exchange of the food to the user or to the consumer. They're finding like this nourishing voice. And like, because my customers are telling me stuff like, oh, I feel so good. Like I'm feeling like myself. I feel good and I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. Like I hear this like weekly. I'm not even kidding. And it could just be because they're nourishing themselves with actual food rather than processed food, which is all over America. So I think like obviously because like the gut brain connection, like when you're eating good food, your brain, I really think the gut is the brain, but anyway, so I feel like these people are getting like these nourishing voices that are just spilling out into the world. And it's so beautiful to witness that.
Mm.
Love that.
So,
That's lovely. I can't believe you've created that in 4 years and it's already like that speaks volumes about the purpose like of your mission connecting with the right people that really need what you're creating.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. I'm really like picky about the farms that I work with. And I just had this conversation this morning with one of the farmers. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm coming into my busy season now. And I may not have enough bones because, you know what I mean? Like, because I'll always have cattle like from cow, but like chicken, no one's slaughtering chickens in February.
mm,
And, and so it's like, oh yeah, this is, but I'm not just going to buy bones from a factory. And so, it's like this whole thing of like, but then I know I'm like, again, back to the surrender. I'm like, oh, if I can just let this go, my answer will be there in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, it's a lovely circle.
amazing. If you have, try it. Nourish broth is so good.
Oh, thanks for the plug, Jess.
Yeah. And I'm Jess DuBose. I'm an ADHD coach, and I am actually going to share my screen with you all because I can. This is the freebie on my website for anyone who's watching or watching the replay. I'll make sure the link is below, but uh, 10 days of free ADHD support. So you'll get a text message from me for 10 days, and in the text message will be a little like brain nudge of like, this is how you can support your ADHD brain with a link to a landing page that'll have a voice note from me that's not more than 2 minutes long to like support with how this will work for your brain and what it's good for. And then this, like, that's day one. And then the second day is like a little nudge to remind you to do it if you hadn't done it from the day before without shame or judgment. And then at the end of the 10 days, it says you'll get a little surprise, but I'm just gonna burst the surprise bubble. And it's access to my community for 3 months for free called Magic, which is Magnificent ADHDers Growing in Community. And then after the 3 months, it's only $10 a month to be a part of that group anyways. But then you get a taste and see if it's for you or not. So that's my little plug for today, your daily brain edge. Um,
That is so super cool. I was just a hot mess getting my stuff to Jess. And I said to her in one message, I was like, for the love of baby Jesus, I don't know why you work with folks like me when you are not. Like, I wouldn't wish me on anyone. And your response was so kind. But to meet you, you're so genuinely, clearly called to, yeah, that's not for the faint of heart. And I just really, just even that one gift is so even kind of attuned to our brains, even in the way it's a gentle nudge, not like I'm so curious why you care about our demographic so much. And because you're clearly passionate and good at it, but I'm just so curious, like why you're so awesome with us.
Thanks. I actually have a degree in music education. And when I was in college, I had an education class where my professor did a simulation on ADHD. So this was 2008. Um, and I walked into the classroom like it was a normal day, or at least I thought. And then there was vacuuming going on in the hallway. There were lights getting turned on and off. People were like sneezing excessively loud and like getting up to throw away trash. There was an Aflac duck that kept going off in the middle of class. So like Aflac, Aflac. It's like ridiculous for a college class. And then the professor started going like faster and faster through the slides. And I like threw my pen on the table. I was like, I cannot learn. I don't know what's happening here. And he paused and it was like, people with ADHD, it's not that they can't pay attention, it's they pay attention to everything. And so my I was like, oh, like that was like a really powerful reframe for me. So anytime I met somebody with ADHD that was willing to talk to me about it, I would just ask them a lot of questions because I was like really fascinated how our brains can work so differently. Um, and so as a result, I started accidentally collecting ADHDers in my life. I was married to someone with ADHD, and while we're no longer married, we're still friends. Um, and so a few years ago, I did the life coaching certification. I was trying to figure out who I was going to serve. And my roommates were like, when are you going to do your workshop on ADHD? And I was like, why the fuck would I do that? I don't have ADHD. But I started to see how I was teaching them and some other people in my life about it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I created a workshop and then I created a program and then it snowballed and I had a lot of moments of imposter syndrome. And a nursing friend of mine was like, if you came to me with a broken bone, I'd be able to help you, even though I've never had a broken bone. And I was like, oh. And so some of it too is like some of the reason I can get the nuanced nitty gritty is because when you live with yourself all day, every day, you can't see some of the stuff, which is why we go to coaches and therapists, is we need a mirror. And so because I don't live with ADHD every day, all the day, every day, I can see the little things that could be really supportive. But then I don't have time blindness and I don't have executive function, so I can put the things together for the client so that you can actually like be supported in a way that's actually going to help your brain.
That's that is fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. Like it's very wow, that's very humbling to think someone would spend their career to provide that sort of support. Like that's been a long time coming. When you're me and Elizabeth's age, that is not that has not been my experience moving through the world, having people find ways to support. Like, do you know what I mean? They benefit from the energy and the over productivity, but find it annoying when you burn out or forget something or drop a ball. So to have some, yeah, I just that almost makes me emotional. That's just really lovely that how you came to this. And I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I love it. Like it's not this completely selfless thing. Like ADHD, your brains are so amazing. There are things that your brains can do that mine cannot. And so having like in a very selfish way, having a Rolodex of ADHDers is to my benefit because if I'm stuck on a problem, I'll be like, "Hey, have you hyper focused on this thing at one point in your life? Can you teach me about it in 10 minutes instead of me researching it for 4 weeks?"
Oh, I love that.
Right? Like, and we work well with one another. We need difference in the world. We need people I don't need everyone who's the same as me to be in my space. Sometimes I need a person who's like me for different reasons, but at the end of the day, like the differences I find the most beautiful. And so, um, it's just as much fun and beautiful for me as it is to as the support you're receiving. So yeah,
Wow, you're lovely.
thanks. Um, okay, we get to be mindful of time. So, um, just a quick question, okay, when you learn about your ADHD, a lot of times people will have this like, oh, I didn't know that was ADHD related. What was one of those that was like profound or silly or fun for you to realize was part of having ADHD?
For me, it was that it was a superpower. Yeah, because I was like, oh yeah, this actually is a good thing. So, yeah.
Nice. I like it.
This doesn't answer that exactly, but I kind of laugh at how fidgety I am, and that never occurred to me that there might be a reason. I mean, even as I sit here, I'm doing stuff with my hands, my legs are moving. Yeah.
They're my
Just
cuticles. Yep. Mine would be a call back to Kimberly's comment about all the tabs. At one point, I had over 60 anyway, yeah, I'm a tab. But I realized in retrospect, in grad school, I did all of my papers with all the books laying on the floor with sticky notes. And I wrote my thesis with the baby on my hip, like that I dig through the books and find all the pink tabs that were going to be about these pages. And somebody used an example as a joke in a conference once. And they were like, that would be like trying to write your thesis by having 1,000 books on the floor with sticky note. And I was like, that's literally how I did that. Is that, huh? That's the one that made me laugh out loud. It was so specific. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think for me, being impulsive, I'm a Libra as well. So I'm already indecisive. So then I'm indecisive and impulsive. So, but I kind of love it at the same time. Like on the way home today, I was doing all these boring things and appointments and stuff. And I stopped at a nearby farm just to look at the goats. So
Oh, I love
it makes me happy. And I'm like, my indecisiveness probably could have gone back and forth a bunch. Like, do I really need to stop? You have things to do. But I was impulsive. So I feel like that one, I don't know, it hit the nail
good
right.
self-care.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. And for those of you who are watching and want to connect with one of these lovely women, know that the links will be below and you can connect with them. I am sure that each and every one of them would love to hear from you. So if somebody connected, you felt connected to somebody, or you want to connect to what they're doing or buy some broth, bone broth, like reach out to who you need to reach out to. And we'll see you next time on the next episode.
Thank you.
This was
Thank you
great.
so much.